All right, welcome to this month's Turf Talk. I'm here with Jeff Terrian, our Regional Director of Agronomy. Jeff, you've had a mild winter. You guys have had a ton of projects you've been doing. What are just some of the things that your crew's been knocking out here with the first 5 months of the year?
Really, with the winter conditions that we had, and we were really thin in a lot of areas, especially the roughs, some fairway areas. We've done a ton of overseeding to the point where almost all the fairways are back, I'd say 95% in. We're still working on some smaller sod areas to get those 100% in. Our roughs, we've overseeded numerous times to get those back dense where they need to be. Other than that, we've done a lot of detail work, edging bunkers, adding sand where needed, a lot of irrigation improvements. We had a company over the winter, and the winter was so mild, they were able to level 700 irrigation heads, which is huge for us because it takes the irrigation. If a head's lower, it isn't working properly, and the water isn't going where it's supposed to go. So helps us conserve water and make sure we're doing our part.
So, along those irrigation lines, everyone's big concern this year is water. The governor just came out and said the whole state's in an emergency drought. What kind of situation are we in here at the club as far as the water is concerned, and how is some of that irrigation work going to help us conserve some water while still maintaining the conditions of the golf course?
I feel comfortable we're in a good situation, even though most of the state is not. We have a lot of storage on our property. We have 8 surface acres in our irrigation lake, and we have probably a similar amount in the lake on number 12. So if things were to get really bad, we could always drain that lake. It would be unsightly on that golf hole, but that would kind of be our last resort backup if our irrigation ditch runs slower than anticipated. But as of right now, we're getting a great amount of water. The irrigation lake's keeping up, and things are honestly looking positive. So time will tell.
And then we've also, this spring, we've done a lot of tree work, not only planned, but then also that late winter storm that came through did a little bit of damage. So, how's our tree situation out there?
Uh, Tree trimming's going fairly well. Joe, that's been with us for 40 years, does a fantastic job at trimming the dead out. He's about 4 holes into the back 9, and I think we got 2 holes into the front 9 finished. And we just continue that as time allows, and yeah, doesn't take long to fill up a tree dumpster.
Perfect. So we've done a lot of tree work, irrigation, did some bridge work on 3. Had a lot of projects. We've got a lot of workers out there working hard every day, keeping the course in great shape. Anything that the members can do to help out besides repairing ball marks, sanding their divots, keeping the carts where they're supposed to? Yes, keep your carts where they're supposed to.
Yeah, all those things you mentioned can really help us out. Ball marks historically have been really good here. People have repaired them. Starting to see a little trend of that going in the other direction. And so just remember, if you see one beside yours, when I'm playing, I always fix a couple. And if we all do our part, it'll just make it better for us.
Perfect. Well, hopefully we get some good storms here this summer. Keep the water going. And right now, let's go check out some of the equipment, some spots on the course that you're working on.
Perfect.
All right, we're down here between the clubhouse and the practice green, and we've had this for a little over a year now. Jeff, what are we looking at here?
We are looking at the Crest Autonomous Rough Mower. Not only rough, but it can go down to under a half an inch. So if we actually wanted to set it to mow our driving range tee, which we will be doing in the future, it has that ability. It can change heights on the fly, so it can be mowing rough, Once it switches to a different map as the driving range tee, it would lower the height and mow that. Fantastic machine. It's been doing a great job for us. All of last year, it mowed all of the rough on the driving range. A few areas we got to trim, that it won't get around, but saves us a lot of time, especially with early tee times going off. It's really hard sometimes to get the driving range mowed. It's 3 acres of rough, and this can be out there at nighttime and getting that work done.
Is this something that we use every day, or
Basically, every time the driving range is clean picked, those are the evenings that this runs. So I think we're on a Wednesday and Sunday right now, and we come in and all the rough's mowed and things are looking good.
so in the future, what kind of are we looking at, or what kind of possibilities do we have for adding more of these or some different versions of these that will
Yeah,
help you out?
yeah, for sure. Technology's coming a long way with these. Now there's a model that's 24 inches wide. Toro has a model that's 48 inches wide. We're going to be looking into, as soon as next year, mowing our rough out on the golf holes with one of these mowers. We're hoping to purchase 6 or 7 of these next season to mow all the rough on the golf course. Frees up our guys so that they can focus on detail work around the property, and would just be outstanding for us.
Any concern with it chasing any of our members or people that are out there when it's mowing, or does it sense things that are in its way?
Yeah, it totally senses things that get in the way, so it will stop. And until that thing moves, this thing won't start up again. So, yep,
So please stay out of the way so it doesn't have to stop and restart. But if you see this thing running around, that's what it's doing, and
yep,
hopefully we have more of them and we can free up some more time for some of the more detail work. Jeff and his crew do a great job keeping this place in great shape. Looks like one of the last features here, Jeff. I see it's hooked up to a charger. Is this electric or?
yes, the entire unit's electric. Nice thing about that, somebody can be hitting a shot in the fairway. This can be 15, 20 feet away, and you won't be able to hear this thing. They're so quiet versus our normal rough mowers that are diesel and gas engines, are very loud. So that's another great benefit of these autonomous mowers.
So we're saving some gas and helping the environment at the same time. All a win-win. We're going to head out on the course now and check out a few spots that the crew is working on to try and make better. All right, so we're out here on number 18. Jeff, what are we looking at here?
This is what we call type 1 fairy ring. It's a fungus that develops from mycelium, and it also develops, the mycelium goes in and causes hydrophobic conditions over the sand or soil particles. I'm going to take a soil probe and pull a plug. How you can tell that it's hydrophobic, once we get the plug out, if you drop water on it, you'll see that the water just beads up. It doesn't soak into the soil. We'll do that now. As you can see, in our Colorado soil, very white salt appearance. As we drop that on there, you can see how it's beating up and running away. It's not soaking into the soil, so the roots can't absorb the moisture. What we're working on now is we're spraying a fungicide that attacks the mycelium, and we're also spraying a wetting agent, getting it down about this deep on our first stage, and that gets rid of that hydrophobic condition and lets the soil take the water. Here in another couple weeks, we'll actually be using a solid tine aerator to get those products even deeper.
About how long total are we looking at for this to be repaired and back to normal condition?
We hope to see some big improvements in 2 weeks to a month. Obviously, we're going to sand and seed as well, and try to keep it as playable as possible. Luckily, we don't have this all over the property. It's just a few isolated locations.
All right, well, I think that's going to be it for this edition of our Turf Talk. Tune in next time. We have Jeff again out on the golf course doing some more fun stuff.